Josh,
Corey.
what's your deal with... Do you... what? Fuck. Hello, listener. Welcome. Welcome to the Brown Carpet Podcast.
So good to have you here.
Slide your Crocs off.
Pull on a pair of tracksuit pants.
And time to get your rocks off.
Okay.
What do we do, Corey? What is this?
Josh, I'm glad you asked that question. What we do here at the Brown Carpet Podcast
Yes.
is we take two weird news stories
Yes.
and we turn them into even weirder movie pitches.
That's a sensational idea.
It's a great idea.
Is that it? That's where it ends?
No.
Good.
Basically, what we do then
Yep.
is we put it out to the listener. That's right. You listening now with your Crocs off and your tracky dacks, you get to vote on which pitch you think sucks the least.
What happens to the winner?
The winner, we make a movie poster for it.
That is unbelievable.
So you get to choose which movie gets brown lit.
That is a vibrant idea bristling with possibilities.
Jump on board.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Jumped over 3 linebackers in midair, sprouted inwards like a gazelle.
No one laughs at a master of quack fool.
Real nice.
Many have died from starvation due to the difficulty of finding enough food, such as seals.
Shut up.
No more Mr. Nice Duck. That's it. Right, Mr. Sitz?
What do you make of that? You know, it's the most fantastic story I've ever heard.
The Brown Carpet Podcast.
Welcome to the 25th episode of the Brown Carpet Podcast. My name's Corey Farrell.
And I am Josh Groom.
And we're back. We've been away for a little bit.
It's been almost a month, I think, since we dropped an ep.
There's been a forced hiatus. Josh has been busy photographing on the Katy Perry tour
Yes, I have.
for one of the sport acts. What was her name?
Her name was Starley, and we went via Adelaide, Melbourne, and almost dropped a Sydney show, but Starley unfortunately got a little sick at the end there. So
Bummer. And do you have any Katy Perry Goss exclusives you
Oh,
can
mate.
release on this podcast?
I have got stories for days. How long? This could be the Katy Perry episode, actually.
Let's do it.
Let's just talk Katy Perry.
Scrap the stories.
Let's drill down on Katy Perry minutiae. We shut down a cinema in Adelaide
So she could watch a movie.
so we could watch the Whitney Houston documentary.
That's just grim doco, isn't it?
Mate, have you seen it?
Yeah, the photographs of her house at the end there, the vanity.
It was bleak, man.
Oh, man.
It was really bleak.
Yeah.
And it's tough too because we're on a pop tour. There's a young pop stars on tour, and it was like watching Whitney just kill herself on drugs for like 40 minutes. It wasn't a good vibe by the end.
No.
It wasn't. Yeah. So where have you been?
I was in Tokyo doing some editing on a Tiger beer commercial.
Editing on a Tiger beer commercial. Is that what you call it?
That was the front. I was really there because I'm, as you know, well, Josh, I'm importing Japanese sex pillows into this country
Oh, really?
for incel men.
Okay.
I found a niche market there.
Talk me through the Japanese sex pillow. What exactly does that entail?
It involves a lot of very graphic anime Sailor Moon type imagery,
Right.
on 2D printed on a pillow. That's
Okay.
about the length of a person.
And what do you penetrate the pillow?
No, I mean, there's no hole in the pillow.
Okay.
I mean, you could cut one, but mainly it's just as a comfort thing. I mean, people are jerking off on it and,
Right.
you know.
That's why you need a few. After a while, they stiff as a board. Into the next one.
Yeah, they turn to cardboard pretty quick.
Sure.
So,
Always got to have a stockpile ready to go. How about those dirty panty vending machines? Did you hit any of those up?
I didn't hit any of those up.
Oh, disappointed.
I think it's a bit weird.
Do you?
They turn the weed up to 12, don't they, in
They
Japan?
really do. They don't mess around.
But it's good to be back.
It is fantastic to
Let's
be back.
Let's lift the elevation.
Let's
a bit.
get fired up.
Come on. All right.
How's the Dragons going tonight?
Not very good. Anyway, let's dive into the stories.
Whatever. Before we get into the stories,
Okay. Yes.
we've been running a competition on the Brown Carpet, the Brown Carpet Podcast T-shirt competition.
Thanks for the thousands of entries, by the way.
The mailbag is spilling over. It brimmeth with glorious entries. But right here, right now, we are going to announce the winner of the first ever Brown Carpet T-shirt competition is...
Drum roll, please.
Mr. Tom Drury.
Congratulations,
has won himself.
Tom.
So congratulations, Tom. We will be sending a Brown Carpet Podcast T-shirt out to you.
Yeah.
We just need your T-shirt size and your address, and we'll get one out in the mail to you post-haste.
And what you like to do on the weekends. Just tell us a bit about yourself, Tom.
Would you like a sex pillow?
Yeah.
Maybe some dirty
I know
panties?
a guy.
Yeah.
Should we
Paper, rock, scissors?
Yeah, go on.
It's time. Here we go. On 3.
Yep.
Wow. Oh, it's inside my
We've got
brain.
the Crocodile Dundee thing.
Yeah, I'm feeling woozy.
Yeah?
Let's just go. Ready?
I'm
On
ready.
3? 1, 2, 3. You're so fucking predictable.
Josh, you're first up. What is your headline, your weird headline that you're going to turn into a film this week?
You might have heard about this story, mate. It went a little bit viral during the week. 2 elderly men escape German nursing home to attend Wacken Metal Festival.
Awesome.
Yeah. So the story goes a little bit like this. Proving that you never... Side note,
Yeah.
do you like the phrase, let me set the scene?
Yeah, I do.
Do you like it when someone says that?
Yeah.
I love it when someone says, let me set the scene.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I want to get a big bag of chips, like really lean back in.
Nestle in.
Yeah, nestle right in.
Yeah.
I just love the saying. Let me set the scene. Proving that you're never too old to rock, 2 elderly men snuck out of a German nursing home on Friday, August the 3rd, to make their way to Wacken Open Air, which is billed as the biggest heavy metal festival in the world.
Wow.
According to the German news outlet Deutsche Welle, nursing home officials contacted...
Your German's so good.
It's the best. I went a little Italian there, actually. Deutsche Welle. Nursing home officials contacted police when they noticed that the 2 men were missing from the facility.
Oh, dear.
Police found the ageing metalheads at 3 a.m. inside festival grounds, and a police spokeswoman said they were disorientated and dazed, but reluctant to leave.
I'm just having a good time.
Well, it was funny to me because every single party I've ever been at with you, those words would perfectly describe you at 3 a.m.
I mean, anyone at that party.
Disorientated and dazed, but reluctant to leave. Corey Farrell. After some prodding, the men were taken back. Why did they prod them?
Just carrying around cattle prods.
Yeah, they just zap them back into the van.
Well, they electrocute people with mental illness in nursing and mental institutions, don't they?
They're not mentals, they're just old.
Okay.
After some prodding, the men were taken back to the nursing home via a patrol car. They obviously liked the metal festival, police spokeswoman told the public broadcaster Norddeutscher Rundfunk.
Oh, my God.
Word has it, if you try and stop these 2 metal heroes from sneaking out to catch next year's Wackenfest, you've got another thing coming.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the story that inspired my adaptation.
Give me the title of your adaptation.
The title of my adaptation is The Grey Chapter.
Okay.
Which is actually a reference to a Slipknot album called The Grey Chapter, but it's spelled G-R-A-Y after their bass player that died. This is spelled G-R-E-Y because
Of the age.
the colour of the pubes. The opening credits play over the top of some grainy Super 8 footage shot back in 1976.
Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Started how you're going to start it.
Let me set the scene. The opening credits play over the top of some grainy Super 8 footage shot back in 1976. In a packed and sweaty German metal club, pioneer grindcore band Cock Vomit is delivering a truly brutal performance. The lead singer, Magnus, is carried aloft by the crowd, while the lead guitarist, Ennis, rips a guitar solo that would make Odin, god of thunder, shit in his pants. Just fucking like that. The drummer Les hits with such brutality that the shockwaves are enough to cause Down syndrome in the unborn children of those in attendance.
Oh, wow.
It's a fucking jam. Smash cut to present day. It's bingo evening in the rec room of the Shady Gardens Retirement Village on the outskirts of Schleswig-Holstein in northern Germany. Leslie Farquhar and Enos Pendling are 2 octogenarian Americans seeing out their twilight years in the Shady Gardens. They are to be played by Clint Eastwood and Tommy Lee Jones.
Nice casting.
Shady Gardens is a delightful little community filled with rosy-faced retirees and kind, ample-bosomed nurses tending to their every whim and need. Leslie and Enos fucking hate the place. Now a couple of cranky old men, we discover through a series of flashbacks that they are in fact former members of the band from the opening credits, Cock Vomit.
Ah.
Relatively unknown in the States, they found a dedicated cult following on the German club scene. Their onstage antics featured induced regurgitation, blow-up sex dolls, and borderline criminal indecent exposure. The Germans lapped that sick shit up. The culmination of the band's popularity came in the summer of '78 when they played a sold-out month-long headline residency at the infamous metal venue Verminseed in the heart of Berlin. Young Enos and Leslie are to be played by Alden Ehrenreich, which is the new Han Solo dude,
Okay.
and Andrew Garfield. During that run, the band were at the height of their powers, and the drugs, groupies, and packed-out shows seemed like they would never end. On the final gig of that tour, Enos crowd-surfed to the back of the venue whilst shredding a face-melting guitar solo. Dropped onto his feet, he came face-to-face with the woman who would haunt him for the rest of his life. She kissed him passionately and handed him a piece of paper. On it was her unusual name, Warm, and her telephone number. Warm is to be played by Selena Gomez.
I don't think I've ever heard of anyone being called Warm. But I'm
First
sure
time.
someone, if
First
you're a
time for
Warm,
everything.
write us in.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from all the Warms out there. We probably have quite a few Warms listening to this.
I reckon. A couple of Moists.
A couple of moists, some warms. That night after the show, Enos and Warm had a magical evening and made love in the back of Enos's tiny Volkswagen whilst listening to the delicate strains of Beethoven.
Oh, how cultured.
Very cultured. The next frosty morning, Warm was gone, and so was a piece of paper with her number on it. Despite his continued efforts, Enos would never see her again, and he thought about her every single day thereafter.
For someone called Warm, that was pretty cold, wouldn't you say?
Oh, shit. Well, I think that's the end of the episode. Thanks, everyone, for coming. I think we've peaked.
Sorry.
In 1979, during a big show in Hamburg, the lead singer, Magnus, to be played by John Cena, attempted a spectacular stage dive that ended very badly.
Oh, yes.
And
He's gonna hold
resulted,
him up.
I know, and it resulted in his untimely death.
Oh.
The band carried on as an instrumental outfit for a few years, but the fire was gone, and they eventually disbanded in 1981 after an onstage meltdown that crescendoed in Leslie urinating off the stage and into the crowd. Multiple lawsuits were filed, and the band was ruined financially and never performed again. Flash forward to present day, at Shady Gardens. Enos, despite every fibre in his being, is trying his utmost to be a participating member of the community, dutifully filling out his bingo card. Leslie is fucking over it, and he flicks through the newspaper with a detached disdain. He occasionally peers over the top of the headlines to leer at his fellow retirees. Fucking sheep, he growls through clenched teeth. On the next number drawn, Enos catches bingo, but before he can shout out, Leslie slams his paper down on top of the card. It's the music section, and the Wacken Festival is the main featured image.
Boom!
Featuring a brutal lineup of heavy metal titans including Iron Maiden, Meshuggah, Twisted Fister, Slipknot and Rammstein, it's a brutal list of the loudest and baddest in the business. The festival is today. Enos looks up at Leslie, who narrows his eyes and slowly nods at him. Without a word, the decision is made. They stand up and walk out of the bingo hall, two men on a mission. The guys suit up for the festival, pulling out mouldy and ill-fitting leather gear, fingerless gloves, and even a couple of vintage Cock Vomit 78 tour shirts.
Yeah.
They creep out of the service entrance, struggle over a small brick wall and snag a passing taxicab. The driver, Ulrich, played by Michael Fassbender, is a shaggy, middle-aged rock pig who blasts Metallica all the way to the festival. They bond with Ulrich big time, and before they leave the cab, he gifts them a couple of tabs of acid to take when the time is right.
Yeah.
Arriving at the gates, they head for the box office, but a massive sold-out sign tells the story in advance. Next, the gents hit up the scalpers, but tickets in 2018 are much more expensive than back in the day.
Astronomical.
Yeah, they're just out of fucking world.
Yeah.
The cheapest ticket is over €500, and the boys barely have 100 between them. Enos is defeated, but Leslie, he's not done yet. He drags Enos behind the toilet block, and together they scamper towards a storage unit that they can climb to get over the fence. It's excruciating to watch, but eventually the geriatric rockers are at the top of the fence looking in. The problem is, it's a serious drop.
Oh dear.
Scared for his brittle bones, Enos shakes his head. Leslie, however, will not be stopped, and he takes his old mate's hand and lurches over the top and into the festival. The fall would most definitely have broken them both, but mercifully, the landing was cushioned by two unsuspecting musicians. Dusting themselves off and looking around, Enos and Leslie realise that they are now in the backstage VIP artist area. Furthermore, they have just knocked out two of the masked members of the band Slipknot, who are due to hit the stage in less than 5 minutes. They look around at one another and they make a couple of bold decisions.
Yep.
They hide the bodies, drop the acid, and climb inside the stolen Slipknot boiler suits and horror masks just in time to walk on stage in front of 75,000 screaming metal fans.
As Slipknot.
As fucking Slipknot. Well, 2 of the 9. There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
Thankfully, with 9 members on stage, the boys are able to coast through the set, improvising percussion with baseball bats and staring menacingly at the crowd, carried along by the fireworks, the energy and musicianship of the other 7 dudes.
I like how you had explained that. They were the guys that just, one was a hype guy.
They just hit shit. And
just happened to be the 2 guys that weren't playing them.
I reckon you and me could easily fill in 2 of those slots. No one's going to notice. The show's going surprisingly well, until the final song of the set, when Leslie trips over a guitar pedal and tumbles face first off the front of the stage. The crowd catches him, however, and he is crowd surfed around the mosh pit like a rag doll. Back on stage, Enos is getting tired from bashing an empty beer keg with a baseball bat, and he steps to the side of stage area to grab a quick breather. And that's when he sees her. It's the stage manager. She's a beautiful, mature lady with striking features, and even if her name tag didn't confirm it, he'd know her anywhere.
Warm.
It's Warm.
Yes.
His long-lost heartthrob from the 78 tour, to be played by Angelica Houston.
Nice.
He approaches her, unsure whether it's a dream, his heart medication, or the acid playing tricks on him. He reaches out to her, but she recoils in horror, and he remembers the mask. He removes the gruesome mask and looks at her with misty eyes. She recognises him instantly. They embrace, and they share a kiss that's been in the making for 40 long years, while Slipknot serenade them with Pulse of the Maggots. It's a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
Suddenly, the music from the stage comes to an abrupt halt. Ennis and Warm stop kissing and peer out to see what's going on. Leslie has been unmasked while climbing back onto stage, and the sight of this sweaty senior citizen has stopped the show mid-song. The boos begin. Ennis walks out to help his friend, and the sight of a second old man in Slipknot gear has the crowd howling with fury, throwing beer cans, hurling abuse, and lighting flares. Things look like they're about to take a dangerous turn. Ennis realises there's only one thing that can save this situation. Pure, unadulterated cock vomit.
Yeah, come on!
He snatches an electric guitar from one of the Slipknot guys and tears into an all-time anus-splitting axe solo.
Yes!
An intricate yet brutal freeform distortion odyssey to rival the likes of anything ever seen on main stage.
Wow.
One by one, the crowd is wooed. Before long, the boos have become cheers and then thunderous, ecstatic ovation as Enos pours silky, warm electric honey into their quivering ear holes. The police arrive before he can finish, and as he is dragged away by the boys in blue, he continues his apocalyptic solo. Leslie, walking behind him, raises the devil horns one final time to the crowd, and they lose their shit. Flash cut to 1 month later at the Shady Gardens Retirement Village. Neil Young's Old Man drifts over the soundtrack. Once again, it's bingo evening in the rec room, and Enos and Leslie are back in their seats. But this time, they seem well into it and engaged with the game. They look up from their cards, ready for the next digit. Warm is the new bingo host, and she draws out a numbered ball. Ah, number 69, a favourite of mine, a meal for two, number 69. We cut outside the building as the camera slowly pulls away and we hear Enos shouting, "Fucking bingo!" And we cut to black.
Oh, nice. I love it.
Oh, cheers, mate.
That's so good.
So I've got a tagline.
Yeah?
Not just another fucking movie.
That's one of your best.
Oh, cheers, mate.
That's good.
So our cast is
Bang, hit me.
Clint Eastwood as Leslie, Tommy Lee Jones as Enos, Angelica Houston as Warm, Michael Fassbender as Ulrich the cabbie, Andrew Garfield as young Leslie, Alden Ehrenreich as young Enos, Selena Gomez as young Warm, and John Cena as Magnus.
So good.
Soundtrack-wise, it's a heavy metal extravaganza, pretty much.
Yeah.
We got Slipknot, Metallica, and original songs by Cock Vomit, Old Man by Neil Young, and a couple other tracks, I reckon Glory Days by Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
Old by Machine Head.
If the film was made, I'd like to do like a thing where it's like they pretend that's a real Cock Vomit's a real band and they have an album and then they perform those songs as a soundtrack.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
What, like Clint Eastwood and that would go out and tour?
Well, they'd be miming it, but they'd make the songs for the film.
Yeah.
Like a whole album for Cock Vomit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd buy that album.
I'd buy the T-shirt.
For sure. You'd look great in a Cock Vomit T-shirt.
Yeah, thank you.
Budget-wise, I mean, there's a big set piece at the end there, which I reckon we'd
Just
have to
hijack
shoot
a festival, right?
at an actual festival.
Yeah.
The rest, I reckon you get done under 30 milli.
Yeah.
Pretty easily. It's basically Bubba Hotep meets Almost Famous.
Perfect.
Cheers, brother.
What band do you think you'll be sneaking out to see as an old man in a retirement village?
What would drag me out of the gardens, Shady Gardens? I think metal's a bit too brutal. I don't know if I'd be sneaking out for metal. I'd like to go see what the young kids are listening to in the hip hop.
In the hip hop.
In the hippity hop.
You sounded so old saying that.
I know. I enjoy a bit of the old hip hop.
The hip hop is very groovy.
I think to be when we're 90.
Yep.
Whatever's going on, whatever is the cutting edge of hip hop at that point would be.
Can you imagine?
Pretty fucking greasy.
I mean, if mumble rap's an indication, it's just going to be people farting into a microphone.
What would you sneak out to see?
Keith Richards.
Yeah, right. He's still blazing away.
All the Stones are dead.
All the Stones are long
it's just
dead.
Keith Richards doing and there's all these young got a young band. I want to see Keith Richards.
Corey fucking Farrell.
Yes, Joshua.
What did you find this week, mate?
I've got a good one. This headline will make your giblets wriggle.
Set the scene for me.
Man arrested after filling hotel bath with potatoes during 5-day MDMA binge. James Johnson, 30, had planned to go on a humble one-night sesh with his friends. To facilitate this, he ordered £750 worth of drugs from the dark web, booked into a travel lodge at Eastleigh near Southampton.
That seems like a lot.
Yeah. 4 days later, Johnson and his friends were found high off their proverbial tits in the hotel, dressed in women's underwear with a bag of potatoes.
Right. How many mates has he got?
I don't know. I think it is a couple.
You'd hope so.
According to local Southampton paper Southern Daily Echo, Johnson was arrested after police found him intoxicated and attempting to fill the hotel bathtub with potatoes. They also discovered a number of drugs, including MDMA, the hallucinogen 2CB, and 5-MAPB in his hotel room. I don't know what that last one is.
I don't even know what the second last one is.
Yeah, I guess synthetic hallucinogenics, I guess.
Okay.
He was charged with possession with intent to supply.
Potatoes.
Sorry. That's great. Police handed the illegal substances over to drug experts following Johnson's arrest. Tests show that due to the impurity of the drugs, they were only worth about £300. So his drugs weren't like, the purity of his drugs were like...
It was shit.
No
It was
shit.
just taking piss.
According to the Daily Echo, the prosecutor in Johnson's case said that police had seen him with the bag of potatoes and in women's clothing. He speculated...
Outside of the hotel room.
No, I guess that's in the... I guess I'm assuming that's in the hotel room.
What alerted authorities to what was going on inside the hotel room?
No.
Doesn't there's like the room service guy just like saw too much. He was like, what the fuck?
What the fuck's going on? He speculated it may be this that led the officers to believe that he was intoxicated.
So he was outside the hotel room in the get-up.
I guess so,
with
yeah.
the potatoes.
Yeah.
Why the spuds?
I don't know. The judge, who described the case as odd and bizarre, asked Johnson why he had embarked on a 5-day potato bath-themed bender. He replied, it felt like the right thing to do at the time. Sounds about right.
So what is the title of your adaptation?
My adaptation to that wonderful news story
It's a mess of weirdness, I gotta say.
is called Mashed.
Nice.
Let me set the scene. Starry-eyed Irishman Steve Gurnigan is a typical 20-something Dubliner. He enjoys drinking with his mates, listening to U2, and watching Gaelic football. He is lucky in most things, except that one thing he pines for, love. That all changes one day at the Three-Legged Mare, that's a pub, where he meets a striking young lass named Felicity O'D-T-D-T-D.
Oh, God.
O'D-T-D-T.
Wow.
O'D-T-D-T.
You are being so racist right now.
Felicity O'D-T-D-T.
Stop.
Okay,
What
it's
are you doing?
O'D-T-D. Okay.
How many syllables are we talking?
O'D-D-D-T-D. D-D-T-D. Right, I'm going to do an Irish accent soon too, by the way.
Awesome.
Steve is awestruck mid-stroke of his pool shot. He catches a glimpse of Her Majesty and fires the 8-ball clear off the table. She smiles back like a coy Dutch girl harbouring a secret. Spurred on by his buddy Seamus, Steve brazenly nuts up and approaches her with buoyant optimism. The name's Steve and my pals call me Gurney. What's your name? Felicity. Well, Miss Felicity, could I interest you in a game of pool? Sure.
Is this the prequel of the Conor McGregor story? It feels like we're going deep.
It could be. And over that game of pool, as the balls filled the corner pockets, sparks flew between these two Irish youngsters.
Shit, it's electric.
I should say, I broke my story into... So that was day one.
Okay.
I broke in the story's like acts. It's like
Well, chapters.
day one.
Okay.
So now we're in day two. Not satisfied with yesterday's fill of one another, Steve and Felicity double down on the dating game.
Are they boning yet?
Just come on. Baby steps, Josh.
Okay, sorry. You're talking about balls and pockets and filling each other.
I know.
What am I to think?
The innuendo is relentless. Steve turns the charm to Spinal Tap levels with a gourmet picnic by the seaside, followed by a walk along the beach, finishing off with an outdoor cinema screening of Schindler's List.
Oh,
In
that's
hi-
romantic.
In hindsight, Steve
Nothing moistens the labia like a bit of Schindler's List.
Steve realised it wasn't the best choice of film for the first date.
No.
Even still, Felicity is enamoured by Steve's sensual sorcery and agrees to seal the date with a nectarous first kiss.
Oh. Nectarous?
Yeah.
What, like there's
Sweet.
like nectar dribbling from her lips?
Day 3. Felicity is now all in on our boy Gurnigan. So much so, she invites him to dinner to meet her mother and father on her family's potato farm. Steve, who would normally balk at such encounters, especially so soon in their courtship, is blinded by the heart's rapture and agrees. Her father, a steely old potato farmer, presses Gurney on his intentions with his daughter. And what are your intentions with my precious little shamrock? The mother looks on concerned. Steve replies, Honourable Mr. O'D-T-D-T-D, I assure you that. Softened, the old spud farmer caves and lets the sun shine on his heart, demanding the whole family drink whiskey and rejoice of young love. With her clan's blessing, they drink until they can't stand.
Nice.
Yeah.
As the Irish do.
I'm so prejudicial in this whole...
Pretty much.
Day 4. Hungover and still drunk on young love, Steve and Felicity spend a day in playing house. Gurney cooks up a full English breakfast for Felicity in bed. They listen to the Cranberries and play Trivial Pursuit. Felicity even shows Gurney her vintage dress collection. They eat chocolate and watch The Wind That Shakes the Barley.
Is that a euphemism?
No.
Have they porked yet?
No. It's assumed they porked last night.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to... this is PG, come on.
You're talking about nectar and shit.
They eat chocolate and watch The Wind That Shakes the Barley, and at that moment, with chocolate all over her face, Gurney knows she's the one. He knows he's going to marry this woman. His brain starts ticking over on the perfect proposal. What will he do? Day 5. On their first day apart since meeting, Gurney sets to work on his plan. He decides to hire a fancy hotel room and over a romantic spa bath, pop the question of holy matrimony.
That's perfect.
Gurney is a man of action, but also a man of crippling anxiety. He begins to torture himself with all the worst-case scenarios of what will happen, or what could happen. In a moment of panic, Gurney calls his best bud Seamus. Seamus talks him down and says he'll meet at the hotel room and not to worry, he has something to calm his nerves. On arrival, Seamus drops a handful of MDMA into Gurney's hand.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Take one of these when you start feeling it's all too much. It'll take the edge off and help you connect. Thanks, Seamus. You're the best bud in the world.
You sound like a 2-bit version of Brad Pitt in Snatch.
No,
You are the...
it's horrible. I'm sorry. Also, here's a dress that was passed down to my family. It's a gift. Give it to her. Such a thoughtful gift, Seamus. Don't mention it. Now, good luck, pal. I must be off. Oh, God. Sorry about that. Now Gurney is left alone with his thoughts, which isn't good.
No.
Feeling nervous, Gurney necks a capsule of MDMA. We see a montage of nervous room pacing and strange dancing. 2 hours go past. He drops another cap. Felicity still hours off arriving. Gurney takes another. 3 deep. Now he's really surfing the astral plane, reaching for the lasers that aren't there, and he works himself up into a real lather. The room that earlier looked like a romantic haven now looks like a rave cave.
Has he got those little build-ups of foam around the corners of his mouth?
Yes, that's exactly what he's got.
That's not good.
Gurney takes another. 4 caps into his druggy abyss. Gurney looks at the clock. Shit, she's going to be here in an hour. Where the fuck did the time go? Gurney panics. In his stupefied high state, with logic a distant star cluster away, puts on the dress Seamus brought and runs out of the hotel.
In search of potatoes?
Gurney, now immensely high, sporting nothing but an old vintage dress, zigzags his way down the cobblestone footpath in search of something, but he's not sure what. Then he sees it, a greengrocer. He rushes in, and as if placed for him by the gods, there sits a large sack of potatoes.
Perfect.
The perfect gift.
Perfect.
Steve smiles a clenched jaw smile to himself. He's actually proud of himself. He races back to the hotel with the sack of spuds, with only minutes to spare. He quickly fills the spa with spuds and jumps in, still wearing the dress. A knock at the door. It's Felicity. Her hair and makeup done. A beautiful vintage dress. She looks like a movie star. Come on in, it's unlocked. Gurney.
I like to think of Steve sitting there with all the potatoes floating
Spread eagle.
around. Erect penis, like just the knob poking up, so it's like all potatoes floating and just one knob right in the middle.
There's no water.
They're just bouncing off. Oh, there's no water.
No,
Oh, God.
it's just spuds.
All right. That is horrific.
Come on in, it's unlocked. Gurney manages to shout from his clenched jaw. Felicity screams, Steve, what the fuck? She can't handle the vision of Gurney's spread eagle in a dress, out of his mind on disco biscuits. Felicity immediately runs out the door. The slamming of the door reverbs in Gurney's mind like a deep house DJ set. He couldn't care less right now. He's hanging 10 on a wave of euphoria.
Oh, yeah.
Day 6. Gurney wakes up a broken man, still in the dress.
What have you done?
What the fuck have I done? He mutters to himself. Felicity, fuck! Fragments of her leaving come flooding back. Steve cleans himself up and decides to go to the 3-legged mare to drown his sorrows. He calls Seamus but only gets
The pub or
Yeah.
an actual?
No.
Okay.
He calls Seamus but only gets his voicemail. We're out on Gurney, coming down hard, perched at the bar, drowning in his Guinness. When Felicity comes through the door, he lights up. He goes to say her name, but she has someone in tow. She's not alone. It's Seamus.
Oh, that dog.
The end.
He's burned him.
Yeah, he set him up.
Oh, he set him up.
It was fucking Seamus.
The shit was too potent.
Yeah.
All along. It was never going to take the edge off.
Yeah.
It was going to ruin him.
Yep. It was all fucking smoke and mirrors.
Irish shenanigans.
And that's why no one likes the Irish.
What's your tagline?
I got 2.
Okay.
He was up to his spuds in it. Or he's one baked potato.
Okay. That was good too.
Yeah.
Up to his spuds.
Yeah,
though.
okay.
That's solid.
The cast, and I can't pronounce their Irish names.
All right. Take a shot.
You know the chick from Brooklyn, that film? Saoirse Ronan? Cillian Murphy is Gurney.
Right.
Gurnigan.
Yep.
Sean Astin is Seamus. Sean Astin from
The Goonies.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Samwise Gamgee.
Also from the Goonies.
And Liam Neeson is the father.
Of course. He has a specific set of skills.
So it's like The Notebook meets Human Traffic. And I said a budget about 30 million too. But
About 30 million?
yeah, I just threw that out there.
Yeah.
Soundtrack, U2, Cranberries, and Michael Flatley's Lord of the Dance.
Beautiful.
You like it?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's great.
Yeah?
That's very good.
I do want to point out now a disclaimer to anyone of Irish descent or ancestry. I also am Irish ancestry, so I do reserve the right to make fun of the Irish and or do a bad accent.
It was a very bad accent.
I know, but I'm allowed to do it.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So no, don't give me your shit.
That's like
Okay.
the I have a black friend disclaimer.
No.
Like it's fine.
No, it's not the same.
It's a little bit the same. And that's all we have time for on this episode of the Brown Carpet Podcast. You've got 2 films to think about this week. You've got my film, The Grey Chapter, or you've got Corey's film,
Mashed.
We are going to put a poll up on the Facebook page. Vote for the one that you think is least shithouse. At the end of the week, we'll pick a winner and a movie poster will be made for said film.
Correct. If you have any weird news you'd like us to turn into a movie, please send it to thebrowncarpetpod@gmail.com and we'll endeavour to do so.
Yes, indeed.
That's it.
Thanks for joining us for episode 25. This means we've done roughly 50 terrible movie ideas up until this point.
At least.
At least.
Yeah, wow.
I reckon we're really close to having a good one. Like one good idea. I reckon we've got to be edging.
Yeah. I think there's been a couple of corkers in there, actually.
Do you?
There's some in there that are better than the films coming out now.
It's funny you should say that.
Why's that?
Because next week we have a very special episode of the Brown Carpet Podcast.
Do tell.
Let's just say that the celebrities are gathering.
Right.
The brown carpet has been officially laid.
Oh, is this some sort of ceremony happening?
The Palace Hotel Ballroom has been booked.
Wow.
And it will be a glittering night of nights. Do not miss next week's very special episode.
I'm excited.
Yes, it is going to be a star-studded affair. You don't want to be anywhere other than that ballroom
Yeah.
on that night.
Speaking of ballroom, just going to adjust myself and
Let's tuck it to the left.
until next week, don't forget to flush.
See you, cunts.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Jumped over 3 linebackers in midair, sprouted endings like a gazelle.
No one laughs at a master of quack fool.
Real nice. Many have died from starvation due to the difficulty of finding enough food, such as seals.
Shut up. No more Mr. Nice Duck. That's it. Right, Mr. Sitz?
What do you make of that? You know, it's the most fantastic story I've ever heard.
The Brown Carpet Podcast.
Get all your coughs out. Drain all the phlegm. On the outskirts of Schleswig-Holstein in the northern German... Fuck. On the outskirts of Schleswig-Holstein in Norman...
You are rusty.
I'm going to take one last go at that sentence.
You are rusty.
Eat me.
You feel a bit flat.
I felt flat.
Do you feel a bit flat? You're like...
How dare you?
No, I'm saying, do you feel flat?
I was a faucet of energy. You were a fucking... You're a dead fish.